This is good news for San Francisco, and we had a good view. We're on our walk this morning. Golden Gate Bridge, aquatic park right behind me. Klay Kubiak is staying aboard as San Francisco's offensive coordinator. The Raiders and the Steelers both wanted to interview him for their head coaching positions. He said, no, I'm staying with the 49ers, the team that I've been with since 2021, as a defensive quality control coach. And I want to continue developing as a coach under Kyle Shanahan. Lombardi herself was holding the camera. Now I want to walk a little bit. So I grabbed the camera as we take a look down at the Golden Gate Bridge. Byron, shout out to Byron, shout out to Mark. Flew us up to the Seattle game last week. Byron's on his boat somewhere down there. And I am going to be walking over toward the water that I'm going to swim in. You know, another piece of news is that the Steelers are close to hiring Mike McCarthy to be their head coach. Now, in the world of 49ers offensive coordinators, Mike McCarthy has a name. It's not a particularly successful name. He was the OC of the 49ers back in 2005, the dark ages. He was one of the ringleaders in having the 49ers pick Alex Smith over Aaron Rodgers in 2005. I don't think Mike McCarthy is a great coach. The Steelers probably disagree. I don't think that Mike Tomlin was a great coach. Thought that it was a mediocre arrangement for years on end there. And now the Steelers are close to replacing Mike Tomlin with former 49ers offensive coordinator, one of the worst offensive coordinators in 49ers history, Mike McCarthy. That's a flashback all the way to 2005. So that is the news, and I think that the Steelers would have been much better off with Klay Kubiak as their head coach. They wanted to interview him, but he said no, he's going to be sticking with the 49ers. There is Ghirardelli Square. Here's Aquatic Park. Let's make our walk over in this direction. McCarthy, the head coach of 3 historic franchises if this ends up being finalized. The Packers, where Aaron Rodgers was able to guide him to a Super Bowl. The Cowboys, where he didn't do anything impressive. And now the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have been a 9-win team for quite some time, and I'm not really sure how this is going to push them over the hump. But back in that 05 season, I mean, McCarthy did interviews. I think Tim Kawakami, covering the team back then, said that McCarthy tried to convince him why Alex Smith was obviously the better pick than Aaron Rodgers, and that obviously did not end up well. Anyway, we got to talk about Klay Kubiak because this is something that I discussed with the 49ers and their defensive coordinator search with Kyle Shanahan and his preferences. Raheem Morris, I think, would be Kyle Shanahan's favorite to be defensive coordinator if they can get him. Like, Raheem is still in the process to potentially be the coordinator of the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, and then if that doesn't work out, then the other teams will want him to be their defensive coordinator. So it's not just the 49ers who'd be interested in Raheem Morris, but the reason that he's so popular with Kyle Shanahan and potentially with so many other teams is because he's got a background coaching both offense and defense. Raheem Morris was the coordinator on the defensive side for the Rams when they won the Super Bowl in 2021. But before that, especially in 2016, he was Kyle Shanahan's wide receivers coach under Shanahan, the offensive coordinator with the Atlanta Falcons, and that was a historically good offense. So Raheem Morris is somebody who, like Kyle Shanahan, has been plugged into both sides of the football, and because to both sides of the football, he, I think, has an understanding of how to attack opposing offenses. And when you look back at Klay Kubiak's career and his ascent with the 49ers, in 2021, he started as a defensive quality control assistant with San Francisco. Why is that relevant? Well, because Kyle Shanahan started as a defensive quality control assistant in his NFL coaching journey back with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers under John Gruden. And I think that you can argue that Klay Kubiak is taking the Kyle Shanahan track. Consider the family background. Klay Kubiak's dad, Gary Kubiak, was a former head coach. Gary Kubiak worked under Mike Shanahan. Gary Kubiak was a 49ers backup quarterback, by the way, in the 1990s. Then he was the offensive coordinator for Mike Shanahan in Denver, and then he became a head coach for the Broncos and for the Houston Texans. So his two sons, Clint Kubiak, who's going to be coordinating the offense for the Seahawks in the NFC Championship game, and Klay Kubiak are working their way up the NFL coaching ranks. And I think because of that, have a lot in common with how Kyle Shanahan, the son of Mike Shanahan, worked his way up the NFL head coaching ranks. The fact that Kyle Shanahan started on the defensive side, even though he's an offensive coach, back I think in 2005 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the fact that Klay Kubiak in 2021, his first NFL job after he was a teacher, I think he was a high school teacher back in the day, started as a defensive quality control coach with the 49ers, there's a parallel there, right? There's a really cool, interesting parallel there that I think that Kyle Shanahan really appreciates because he has seen Klay Kubiak develop his offensive acumen from the ground up, from the defensive side of the ball, so he can understand how to attack those defenses. I'm going to take a little bit of a walk moving this way. Klay, by the way, he moved from that defensive quality control spot to an assistant quarterbacks coach role, saw a ton of success there. I mean, the 49ers have had epic production from the quarterback position over the past few years. It wasn't just this past year with Purdy and Mac Jones, but the 49ers have also seen great success at the QB spot in 2022. You know, despite all the injuries there, the fact that they were able to fill in for all those depth issues, whether it be Trey Lance moving to Jimmy Garoppolo or Jimmy Garoppolo to Purdy, it was a fantastic season for the QB room, and Klay Kubiak was overseeing it at that time. The offensive coordinator title was bestowed upon him here entering this 2025 season, and he calls some of the plays for the 49ers, although Kyle Shanahan has final say. But the main thing about Klay Kubiak is that he's a big-time play designer for the 49ers, and he's done an excellent job. The offense was good this year despite having a very limited arsenal of weapons. So this is Aquatic Park. These are stands right here. Like, these are little, so you could sit here and you could watch the old swimming competitions of days past in the water. I don't know if there are all too many competitions that have the stands filled up anymore, but it's a nice historical relic in San Francisco. This, in fact, is the old lifeguard tower. From the top of here, I don't even know if the steps are in place anymore, because otherwise people would try to climb up into the lifeguard tower, but you could go all the way up to the top back in the day and then obviously get a fantastic view of the Golden Gate and the bay with Alcatraz out there in the distance. So Kubiak is building up a heck of a resume. Keeping him is a big deal for the 49ers because Kyle Shanahan has only trusted two coaches so far, coach over the course of his coaching tenure with the 49ers to be entitled offensive coordinator. It was Mike McDaniel back in 2021. That was Klay Kubiak's first year on the staff as a defensive coordinator, and then Klay Kubiak in 2025. McDaniel only stuck around for one season as the offensive coordinator before he left to be the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. So 2021 was also a year where the 49ers made more with less offensively. That was the year where Deebo Samuel had to play running back, and so that was the crowning achievement of Mike McDaniel, the coordinator, in that 2021 season, where the 49ers had to crawl back from the dead to make it all the way to the NFC Championship game. 2025, well, it was all about making more with less for the 49ers. If you look at all the metrics, this is a highly efficient offense, but the explosiveness wasn't quite there. And the explosiveness, the lack of it, wasn't the fault of the play callers. The play callers were making the most of what they had. The lack of explosiveness came to be because the 49ers didn't have the separators that were necessary at that wide receiver position. So Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle and the play calling helped take the 49ers to a certain level, but they weren't able to raise the profile of their offense from an explosiveness standpoint much further because they didn't have Brandon Ayuk. That was brutal for San Francisco. They only had Ricky Pearsall healthy for about a quarter of the season. You know, we always look at receiving metrics, like the advanced ones, to gauge, does a team have what it needs from a wide receiver standpoint? You know, you have different roles. You have a wide receiver 1 role, you have a wide receiver 2 role, and I get that a lot of stuff is interchangeable in a Kyle Shanahan offense, but you do need certain thresholds of productivity, and those indicate that you have an offense that is spacing the field in a correct way and in a way that can lead to explosiveness. And I think for wide receiver, you need the yards per route run, which is a really good stat for wide receivers within the context of an offense, to be over 2 yards per route run. Over the first 4 weeks of the season, they had, that's wide receiver 1. You need at least one guy. The 2023 49ers with Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, and that was a loaded offense. They had 2 receivers over 2 yards per route run. These 49ers for the first 4 weeks of the season had Ricky Pearsall at 2.38 yards per route run, so they were looking great. The offense was humming along, but then Ricky got hurt, and after Ricky got hurt with the PCL in week 4, he wasn't over 2 yards per route run after that, and the 49ers didn't have a single receiver cross that threshold. So they simply were not explosive enough. They didn't have the space making that they needed. The math did not work for the 49ers over the course of the entire last 3 quarters of the season because of injuries. And you could circle it all back to Brandon Ayuk, and him defecting from the team was absolutely brutal for the 49ers. That's where Klay Kubiak deserves a lot of credit. That's where and Mike also points out that the run game was underwhelming for the 49ers. Yes, especially without George Kittle. When Kittle was healthy, the 49ers were in the top 10 run offense-wise. But when he wasn't in there and the 49ers didn't have the blocking capabilities, and you know what? Losing the receivers, losing Brandon Ayuk and not having Ricky Pearsall healthy, also the run blocking on the outside. So when they didn't have all those guys, because it's important to block not just along the offensive line, but it's important to block outside of that. When the 49ers didn't have those guys, they were just not the same run offense that they had been in the years prior. So that's where Klay Kubiak and Kyle Shanahan should get their flowers. 49ers did not have the personnel, did not have the spacing, did not have the run game that they normally do due to personnel, especially personnel deficiencies on the perimeter. Yet they were still able to turn in an offense that was top 10 throughout the whole season, but also an offense that, with Brock Purdy aboard, was a top 5 offense at the end of the league. Now, of course, once they ran into an elite Seattle defense, the production stopped, because at a certain point you need the horses, and the 49ers did not have the horses necessary to take this the full way. But the fact that they got this to 13 wins was absolutely sensational, and I think that's why Klay Kubiak was getting the interview attention that he deserved. But he has decided to stay with the 49ers, and that's big news. Now the question is, do they replenish this team at the wide receiver position in a way that allows them to get the spacing that guys like Klay Kubiak, I think, deserve as the play callers? Romeo Doubs is going to be a free agent. Big, tall, Green Bay Packers receiver, one of the many talented young receivers on that Green Bay team. Could be somebody who makes a lot of sense. I don't know if the 49ers actually go top A-list receiver. I know that we've heard Tim Kawakami talking about a trade for Justin Jefferson. Anytime you talk about a trade that's that much of a big ticket deal, it's unlikely to be something that happens. I mean, maybe the 49ers can strike gold with a true A-lister, but I don't think that Brock Purdy, Klay Kubiak, Kyle Shanahan need that massive of a land to become the best offense in football. I mean, Purdy is that good, Shanahan's that good, Kubiak is that good. I do think you need to restock the receiver room with at least mid-level veteran talent, and I think that Romeo Doubs might count for that. And then I think you've just got to keep on drafting these guys. But the separation issue is the biggest one for the 49ers. Mike says, bring in a mid-tier veteran wide receiver and keep on throwing darts in the draft. Yes, and it's one big thing that Kyle Shanahan emphasized the other day. Ricky Pearsall was really damn good, just like I said, over the first 4 weeks of this season. It wasn't like Ricky Pearsall is just a washed-out receiver. He was hurt. He had the PCL, but the 49ers do believe that if they can get him healthy this offseason, and if he can stay healthy, then he takes care of potentially your wide receiver one need. He takes care of that one slot where you do need over 2 yards per route run. So say you got Pearsall, add a Romeo Doubs, draft another guy, get something out of Jacob Cowing or Jordan Watkins. Even if you don't return Jawan Jennings, you have a much faster receiving room that should be able to separate much better than the year prior. But the one position where the 49ers need the most is that wide receiver room, absolutely, because the separation was the biggest lack on this team offensively over the course of the 2025 season. But they've got the coaching, they got the play calling. Klay Kubiak is sticking around, and I think that's big for San Francisco. Any questions for you guys? Maybe we go over and see Lombardi herself here. She's wandering around. You feeling better? She's feeling a little bit better. We're not going to put her on camera, but we're going to walk over here. How's it going?
It's going. Pretty sunny.
I'm flipping the camera this way. We could look back at the Dolphin Club. Can you hold this for a while? There we go. There might be some questions in there.
What's for lunch?
What's for lunch? What is for lunch?
Maybe Suzette?
Suzette. Oh, Suzette's. Come on over here. Look, we're going to do a little bit of a tour of where we might go for lunch. We're trying a new concept with this mic. It's really nice. Suzette's would be that way. I wonder where Byron is. Byron's on his boat. He was under the Golden Gate Bridge a little bit earlier. The problem with zooming on this thing is that it gets really shaky, so you probably don't even have to worry about it. People want pizza. Suzette and Sausalito is really, really good. Somebody said, I heard through the grapevine that Justin Jefferson is coming to San Francisco. Well, I don't want to burst your bubble, but it's not Justin Jefferson's choice. He'd have to get traded by the Vikings. So first the Vikings would have to trade Justin Jefferson, and then, of course, the 49ers would have to part with what? 2 first-round picks? A lot. The glory of having Brock Purdy as your quarterback, Klay Kubiak as your offensive coordinator, Kyle Shanahan as your play caller and your head coach is that you don't need Justin Jefferson to have a really good offense. Now, if you get him, fine. That'd be awesome. If you're the 49ers, you have Justin Jefferson, but what you need is competence at the receiver position. Mike points out that it'd be $46 million in dead cap for the Vikings if they traded Justin Jefferson. Now, I mean, recently, dead money, teams have realized it's not as big of a deal as scaremongers online make it out to be. So we've seen trades where teams shoulder massive amounts of dead money. It's not a thing of the past anymore. But I think that just the virtue of losing a really, really good player like a Justin Jefferson would be something that the Vikings would at least think long and hard about not doing. And there's a reason why it's hard to get players who are that good, who are under contract, is because their existing team doesn't want to lose them. So don't count on the 49ers and Justin Jefferson. However, there are guys that are going to be free agents, guys like Romeo Doubs, who could fit very, very well with the 49ers. You have any good questions out there?
Not at the moment.
No good questions at the moment? Well, Klay Kubiak is sticking around and Mike McCarthy is going to the Steelers, and I think the Steelers would have been way better off having Klay Kubiak as their head coach than Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy, and we're going to give Margot here a little bit of a history lesson, was the 49ers offensive coordinator in 2005. He's been the coach of the Packers and the Cowboys, and now he's going to be the coach of the Steelers. When he was the coordinator in 2005, his name is Mike McCarthy. When he was the 49ers coordinator in 2005, they had one of the worst offenses in NFL history, and he advised them to draft Alex Smith ahead of Aaron Rodgers. Yet somehow this guy keeps on getting head coaching jobs. He won 1 Super Bowl in 2011 when Aaron Rodgers was in his prime. I tend to credit Aaron Rodgers a little bit more than I credit Mike McCarthy. But the Steelers, nobody has said that's been a particularly high ceiling team. I don't think the ceiling has risen.
You asked about Watkins or Cowing?
Those are 2 young guys, and you hope if you're the 49ers that one of them breaks through this next year. They both got speed. Watkins has size. I think if Jennings doesn't return, and I think Juwan wants over 20 million, and the 49ers can't pay that. They won't pay that. They need more separation. Juwan is a really, really good receiver. He's a really good culture setter for a team, but he's not a speed demon. And
Was 20 million the market for John?
it might be. Well, the market will be determined by what other teams are willing to pay him. He's earned the right for that to be the case as a free agent. If the Titans with Robert Saleh want somebody aboard who sets the tone, who talks so much crap to opponents that they want to take swings at him, punch him in the nuts like happened against the Carolina Panthers, they might sign Juwan Jennings for $22 million a year. In which case the 49ers would be like, well, the most we were willing to offer is 15. So if Juwan leaves and they want him back, but if he exceeds the price threshold in free agency, yes, having Watkins or Cowing step up would be massive. I consider this year 2 for Cowing because this was wiped out by the hamstring injury. It's going to be year 2 for Watkins. Good chance for both of these guys with some time in practice under their belts now to step up for the 49ers.
2 questions. One, they want to know who's holding the camera.
Lombardi herself is holding the camera. This is the question. I don't know if you guys can hear her asking the question, but the question is, who's holding the camera? Lombardi herself, Margot.
What am I? Am I your girlfriend? Am I your wife?
What do you want to be?
Oh, wow. Okay, nice.
Show the ring.
The wife.
Yeah, it's the wife.
And then the second question was, what European country are we?
You know what she is? She's the Lombardi Trophy.
Yeah. Don't tell the other NFL coaches.
What's the next question?
The next question is, what European country are we visiting this offseason?
Should we spill the beans right now?
No.
No. We're going to be, next week, we're going to be somewhere before the Super Bowl, so you guys will find out. The question was, what European country are we visiting this offseason? Next week, we will be in a European country, and it is a surprise. You can guess in the comment section. Should be good. How many people do we have watching right now?
You said, David, are you of the Lombardis?
I am of the Lombardis, which means the long-bearded ones, which back in 2021, I think it was, or was it 2022? 22, I think I did the big beard. I was a true Lombardi. And
yes, because that's when we got engaged. It was the winter of 21 and then spring of 22.
Spring of 22, yeah. So I am one of the Lombardis, that is true.
You're not a Vince Lombardi.
Well, I don't know if that's what they meant, but.
I think that's what they meant.
Well, you could look it up. I think on the internet it says that I'm not related. Any more questions? Do we have a lot of people watching?
We got 732.
That's a big crowd for a Saturday morning in the off season.
Is it true Robert Saleh is taking the electrical substation with him to Tennessee?
Is it true that Robert Saleh is taking the electrical substation with him to Tennessee? Lombardi herself won't let him do that.
I don't think the Titans need an electrical substation to be as bad as they've been consistently.
Yeah. You know, we're going to do a piece on this electrical substation, I'm sure, here. I don't think that the science either way is going to be like settled or proved. It just seems like something that's really, really hard to debunk or to prove. But it's getting to the point where the toothpaste is out of the tube. Like, when you have players, and NFL players are wired like this, when you have players asking about it and they just want to be 1% better here, 1% better there, if there's a fear that this is making them 1% worse, let alone 40% worse, but if there's a fear that this is making them 1% worse, this is something that's never going to go away. I mean, think about it. Like you could think about most stories like go away in a month, or even if they go viral, like this one, it's on Joe Rogan now. But every single time someone gets hurt, this is going to come up. Every single time. Like, this is not something that's just going to go away. And it's football. So people, even if the electrical substation is not the culprit here, guys are going to continue to get hurt. And this is going to continue, I think, snowballing. Like, I don't know where this ends. I really think that the toothpaste is out of the tube. So we're going to cover this from that lens. Like, I don't even think you need to look at the science anymore because it's gone viral. And people believe whatever goes viral, and if it's going to keep on coming up, then the 49ers might have a problem on their hands.
We got a couple. We got somebody leaving us $49.99. Michael Powers.
Michael Powers. Oh, Michael Powers. Yeah, what's up? Michael Powers leaves the super chat. We met Michael at the fan meetup in Nashville.
Yeah.
He was there.
And then
Awesome
we
guy.
have Florence who gave us 100.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Cute little puppy dog's picture.
Are you guys trying to?
I think they want to debate you during the off season.
You guys want to debate there?
Off season strategy. Michael does. Michael says he wants to debate.
What does he say? What's his take? What's Michael's take if he wants to debate off-season strategy? Does he say anything?
I don't know if I can.
Don't worry about it. Michael, I think you have my email, so we appreciate it. Thank you. You're going to help us eat breakfast today, so it'll be nice.
Florence.
And Florence? Thank you, Florence. We're going to, both of you, you know, you go out to breakfast in the Bay Area and it's like $120, so it's, I'm actually not kidding. I wish I was,
Does
but.
pineapple belong on Lombardi pizza?
I like pineapple on pizza, but it's a certain mood, right? I don't like it really on Italian pizza, if that makes sense. I don't think it belongs on like pure, thin Italian pizza. I think it's more of an American pizza, slice topping, pineapple. Now, if people didn't hear your question, they're gonna think I'm some crazy guy just wandering around.
Somebody asked
Is
in
that-
the comment section.
No. Okay, but it's funny because I'm not sure if this mic is picking you up, so I have to remember to.
Best pizza in SF.
What is the best pizza in San Francisco? Well, that really depends. If you want like super creative, award-winning pizza and it's won like best pizza in the world for several years, Tony's out in North Beach, right on the square. But the problem is the line's always 2 hours long. You go to the Slice House, but the Slice House is not as good as the restaurant. The Slice House is like an express. If you want the best like Neapolitan style pizza in San Francisco when you come to the Super Bowl or to a Niners game, I think Pizzeria Delfina, and Margot likes it. She's nodding right now. They're out in Pack Heights and in the Mission. They're on California, and then they're down on 18th. That's really good. And then if you want some pinza, which is Roman-style pizza, then there's that place right by Delfina and Pack Heights that's really good. But I also like Barbara in North Beach, and it's healthier. It's like lighter than pizza. Really good stuff. Golden Boy square slices, I also think are quality.
Would you wait in the butter and crumble line?
Would I wait in the butter and crumble line? Is that from you or is that from
That's from
somebody?
me.
Okay, yeah. No, I wouldn't. I would not wait in any line for anything. And I keep on saying, if somebody from Butter and Crumble likes the show, please invite me to skip the line because, sorry, I'm not waiting in it. It's like 2 hours long.
I have a sweet tooth. I'll help.
Yeah.
Eat all those.
I mean, you would get anybody from Butter and Crumble would get a great customer in the person holding the camera right here. If we could skip the line, we'd buy out the whole store and then you wouldn't have to work anymore.
It says it's too expensive and too sweet.
Where are we at viewer-wise?
We're at 683 viewers.
Sounds good. Well, we'll wrap this up. I think we've been going for over 20 minutes, right?
You've been going for 28 minutes.
That's perfect. I think keeping another 30 is going to be nice. I just keep the camera on the Golden Gate Bridge. I'll come over here to end our show. Everybody, thanks for watching. Yeah, what's going on?
Who do you think wins the Super Bowl? That's a good final question.
I think that an NFC West team loses in the Super Bowl because there'll be one in the Super Bowl. I think the Patriots are the ones that are most likely to get it done. That'd be big for the 49ers if they can get one of their NFC West rivals to lose in the Super Bowl. We know that's a tough thing to bounce back from in the following season. So I do think, nice. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Those two super chats, thank you guys. We really do appreciate it. I just saw the screen right now. $149.99. That seems like a very good one. Yeah, I bet I haven't been stuck at 99.8. It's finally growing. 99,800 subs. We're trying to get to 100,000. The issue has been that some of you guys unsubscribed right after the 49ers lost because you were so mad. I was trying to warn everybody, hey, this game is probably not going to be a win for San Francisco. They got to walk a tightrope. But anyway, I get it. People unsubscribed after they lost.
You got to protect your peace.
Yeah, people are protecting their peace. I get it. Now people are starting to rejoin, and we're at 99,850 or 60 or something like that. And we got to get to 100,000 before we head to Europe next week with our surprise destination in mind. So the 49ers, the good news today is they're keeping Klay Kubiak, who's one of the best offensive coordinators, play designers, I think, in the game. A really good young mind. He has declined to interview with the Raiders. I would also decline to interview Raiders. And he's declined to interview with the Steelers, who are deciding to hire Mike McCarthy, who hasn't done anything in over a decade. So the Steelers are going to stay the Steelers, and the 49ers are going to stay a good offense. And now it's time for the 49ers to start thinking about how to bulk up the wide receiver room, because that's what they need to do bad. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time. Hit that subscribe button. We want 100K.